Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, ma'am.
Can I request all of you to come in?
Good evening.
Very good evening.
Good evening, ma'am. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. So we are 18 of us. I think we can start the discussion. Uh, all of you, whoever can have your camera on, please come in so that I know who all are there. Okay, great. Somebody's device has to be put on mute mode. There's a sound in the background. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so I had messaged in the group that today's topic of discussion will be how do you go about designing a program. This session has been, or this topic has been integrated in the program with the idea that it's a master trainer program. So anybody who gets into training should become familiar with the idea of how do you go about designing a program and facilitating a session. So these two topics have been integrated in the program besides healthcare communication programs. I know some of you may not be directly involved into training, so you may for a minute think that this topic may not be very relevant to you. But even if you're getting some training done in your uh, organization, you knowing how to go about organizing a training program, I think it will definitely help in improving the quality of the program. Plus, whatever we are going to discuss here, it's going to be equally helpful as and when you have to speak in a conference or in a meeting or deliver a talk, because the tips that I'm going to talk are very, very general and specific both. So for me, it was a very eye-opening program. I actually attended full day program on facilitation skills. So whatever I'm going to share with you today and in the next class when we talk about facilitation, I did a program with Dale Carnegie and I learned how to go about designing a program and delivering a program. So it's the gist that I have brought from that learning for all of you. And but before we go ahead with the topic, there are a couple of things. One is we are going to see the videos that we could not see last time. I was opening the videos with the wrong app, so that's where they were not running well. So I have understood the problem. So we will be watching the videos because I want that to be covered first. Then we can have a couple of recap questions, maybe two, three of them. Then we will have the topic of today's discussion. And towards the end, we can have discussion about the assignment because now it's time that we start working on the assignment. Today's session 5. I was really surprised. I was thinking, oh my goodness, we just started the program and we are already in session 5. So we are just left with 5 more sessions. But before that, you all have to complete your assignment. Although I congratulate all of you for attending the program very, seriously, not just logging in and having your being in the program, but all of you have been attending the program very seriously, and that really motivates me also to give my best to the program. And but that assignment is one of the requirements for the certificate. So I hope you will take that seriously, but we will discuss about that towards the end, not right now. So maybe let me quickly start with the videos that I want to show you so that we can close that chapter and understand and move further. So I'm sharing my screen and taking you the videos.
मैम याद है?
हाँ जी।
मैम बेड नंबर 7 के पेशेंट जाने के लिए कह रहे हैं।
कहाँ?
दूसरा हॉस्पिटल जाने के लिए कह रहे हैं, उनके जो रिश्तेदार हैं।
क्या कह रहे हैं?
कह रहे हैं हम डिस्चार्ज करता हूँ, दूसरा हॉस्पिटल जाएंगे।
वो जो उनका बेटा है,
हाँ जी,
जो उनके
वो
साथ
साथ जो है ना,
जो
वो
उनके
कह
साथ-
रहे हैं दूसरा हॉस्पिटल में। एक बार आपसे बात करा दो, बात करें इसको।
जाने दो, क्या करना है, कौन सी सफाई करेगा, छोड़ो करो। डॉक्टर राकेश को बोलो डिस्चार्ज स्लिप बना दे, आप अपना ब्रेक क्लियर कर लेना, ठीक है? बना दो डिस्चार्ज स्लिप, बनवा दो। Okay, so this was passive communication. If you saw, I did not take any decision. I didn't talk to the family. I did not ask for concern, but I just avoided all that because I didn't want to confront the uh, family members. I didn't want to have any discussion, so I decided to quietly, let the patient back. And if you looked at my body language and my tone of voice, I nowhere appeared very responsible or proactive or professional for that matter to see why the patient's family is wanting to take the patient. Is there something that I can do? And should I not know what is the reason or wrong with my system or my way of functioning? But if you saw, I took a complete passive approach in this video, and I did not even interact with the family. So let me show you the second video, which is about passive aggressive communication. In this, again, I would ask you to watch the language, the body language, the tone of voice, which clearly shows that I am not going to confront, I'm not going to talk, but I'm going. Has it started?
दूसरा हॉस्पिटल जाने के लिए कह रहे हैं, कह रहे डिस्चार्ज कर दीजिए, डिस्चार्ज कर देंगे।
कौन कह रहे हैं?
उनका बेटा साथ में।
I'm sorry. वो जो हर टाइम उनके साथ रहता है,
हाँ,
वो है ही बदतमीज, वो बिल्कुल बेकार आदमी है। हर वक्त कुछ ना कुछ उसको नया ही सोचता है। अब क्या कह रहा है वो?
कह रहे डिस्चार्ज कर दीजिए, हम दूसरा हॉस्पिटल लेके जाएंगे।
ये तो वहां जाके क्या इनको बहुत बढ़िया कुछ वो मिल जाएगा? क्या यहाँ पे इनको क्या तकलीफ है? क्या कह रहे हैं यहाँ पे, क्या दिक्कत है उसको?
मैम आ जाओ। मैम बेड नंबर 7 के पेशेंट जाने के लिए कह रहे हैं।
कहाँ जाना है?
दूसरा हॉस्पिटल जाने के लिए कह रहे हैं, कह रहे डिस्चार्ज कर दीजिए, डिस्चार्ज कर देंगे।
कौन कह रहे हैं?
उनका बेटा साथ में।
वो जो हर टाइम उनके साथ रहता है,
हाँ,
वो है ही बदतमीज, वो बिल्कुल बेकार आदमी है। हर वक्त कुछ ना कुछ उसको नया ही सोचता है। अब क्या कह रहा है वो?
कह रहे डिस्चार्ज कर दीजिए, हम दूसरा हॉस्पिटल लेके जाएंगे।
ये तो वहां जाके क्या इनको बहुत बढ़िया कुछ वो मिल जाएगा? क्या यहाँ पे इनको क्या तकलीफ है? क्या कह रहे हैं यहाँ पे, क्या दिक्कत है उसको?
कह रहे हमारे डिस्चार्ज कर दीजिए, हम दूसरा हॉस्पिटल जाएंगे।
नहीं तो वहां पे क्या, यहाँ पे इसको क्या दिक्कत आ रही है? कुछ बता रहा है कि क्या क्या प्रॉब्लम है उसको?
नहीं, ऐसा तो बताया नहीं।
कुछ बोला नहीं? अरे ये शुरू से ही ऐसे ही बोल रहा है, ये वहां तंग करने वाला बंदा है, किसी काम का नहीं है। भेजो, ऐसे बंदे से क्या करना है हमने? और लड़ाई करेगा, जितनी देर ये यहाँ रहेगा तंग ही करेगा। मेरे पास आता है, कभी कहते जी सिस्टर ऐसे कर रही है, कभी कहते जी सिस्टर वैसे कर रही है, कभी कहते जी पर्दे नहीं ठीक है यहाँ पे, कभी कहते जी एसी नहीं काम कर रहा आपका। बार बार कंप्लेन ही करते हैं। भेजो इसको, और डॉक्टर राकेश को बोलो इसकी वो बना दे।
बात कर लीजिए।
क्या बात करनी है? बदतमीज आदमी है, जाने जान छूटेगी। कुछ बोलना मत उसको। उसको कह रहे हैं ठीक है, आप बना के दे। डॉक्टर राकेश को बोलो उसकी डिस्चार्ज स्लिप बना दे और बिल क्लियर कर लेना अपने। ये जो जाने दो, ऐसे लोग जाए ना ही रहे तो अच्छा है। सारा दिन सिर खपाई करनी पड़ती है ऐसे लोगों से, ठीक है? तुम्हारा क्यों उतर गया? जाओ जाओ जाओ, जाने दो। So I think it's not because of the I think it's because of the internet problem. Probably the video is not running smoothly. But I hope you could see in the video The approach was passive aggressive, where I'm ranting in the absence of the patient and their family member. I'm talking ill about them and blaming them for being misbehaved and unnecessarily demanding things and then troubling me. If you looked at my body language, again, it clearly showed that I'm not going to talk to the family and understand their concern. Even the language was very unprofessional, if you observe. It wasn't the right way of interacting with the staff about a patient. Any other observation from this video if somebody saw something I missed? But I hope you agree with what I'm talking about. Okay, let's see the third video, which is again aggressive communication. Now, in this, I act like a very aggressive, professional, and I talk very, very rudely with the patient's attendant.
मैम आंसू मैम बेड नंबर 7 के पेशेंट जाने के लिए कह रहे हैं क्यों डिस्चार्ज मांग रहे हैं तेरा मैं छुट्टी करके हम दूसरे हॉस्पिटल जाएंगे फिर क्या तकलीफ है उसको तो क्या छुट्टी करता हूँ मैं दूसरे हॉस्पिटल यार बहुत ही पागल आदमी है हालत पेशेंट की इतनी खराब है छुट्टी करो रास्ते में कुछ हो गया तो क्या करेंगे उनके साथ जो आप अटेंडेंट है वो कह रहे हैं कि हमारे डिस्चार्ज उसका जो बेटा है जो उसके साथ हमेशा बैठता है बहुत ही बेकार आदमी है जब देखो इसको पहले तो इतने नखरे इतने हैं कभी एसी काम नहीं कर रहा कभी ये नहीं काम कर रहा अब छुट्टी कर दो आपको बात करा दे भेजो उसको जरा सही करो उसको भेजो जरा क्या तकलीफ है भाई क्या हुआ है मैम डिस्चार्ज कर दीजिए तुम्हें उनकी हालत पता है इस वक्त क्या है बहुत दूर पड़ता है आने जाने में दिक्कत होती है इसलिए आप डिस्चार्ज कर दीजिए नहीं तो हॉस्पिटल तुम्हारे घर के पास ले जाओ डिस्चार्ज कर दो उनकी हालत इतनी खराब है रास्ते में कुछ हो हवा आ गया ना इधर के रहोगे ना उधर के रहोगे ज्यादा दिमाग मत चलाओ अपना इलाज करवाना है तो शांति से करवाना चाहिए ऐसे नहीं कि इधर भागो उधर भागो इधर आने के लिए ऐसा लगता है और इधर आते भी बहुत ज्यादा भीड़ हो गया है पैसे है नहीं हमारे पास तो पहले ही सरकारी में चले जाना था यहाँ आने की क्या जरूरत थी आधा अधूरा इलाज करके अब जहां जाओगे तो वो लोग तो कहेंगे ना कि ठीक से इलाज नहीं करा उन्होंने मेरा भी नाम खराब करोगे और रास्ते में पेशेंट को कुछ हो गया और मुसीबत हो जाएगी आप डिस्चार्ज कर दीजिए भैया बहुत ही बेकार आदमी हो तुम तो डिस्चार्ज तो मैं कर दूंगी पर दोबारा मुड़ के मेरे पास बताना ये कोई तरीका नहीं है इलाज कराने का अपने पेशेंट का भी नुकसान करोगे और मेरा भी नुकसान करोगे साथ ही साथ हमारा आदमी है सिस्टर इनकी डिस्चार्ज स्लिप बना दो और बिल क्लियर करो इनका तब भेजना इनको जब और दोबारा मुड़ के मत आना मेरे क्लिनिक में पता नहीं कहाँ कहाँ से लोग आ जाते हैं
So I hope you could see the aggressive behavior, the rudeness, and not ready to talk to the patient in a respectful manner, showing arrogance and intimidating, and also threatening. Then don't come here. If you come here, I will not take you. That's like an aggressive behavior. And all these three behaviors, as I have been repeatedly saying, are unhelpful, they're unhealthy, inappropriate, and they can trigger extreme reaction from the other party. So the correct emotional response or correct way of handling such situation is assertive communication. And in the last video, I have shown how you can handle the same situation in a more assertive and professional manner. My goodness, it just started.
कहाँ जाना चाहते हैं दूसरा हॉस्पिटल
Give me one
छुट्टी के लिए
second.
गए हाँ जी जो उसका बेटा बेटा के साथ में मैं आ जाऊँ इसमें मैम मेरा नंबर 7 से जाने के लिए है
कहाँ जाना चाह रहे हैं?
दूसरा हॉस्पिटल।
छुट्टी के लिए गए हैं?
हाँ जी।
जो उसका बेटा जो साथ में वही होता है उसका पीछे। भेजो उसको, मैं एक बार इससे बात भेजो। भूपेंद्र नाम है ना आपका? आप उनके बेटे, क्या हुआ बेटा? डिस्चार्ज कर दीजिए। कहाँ ले जाना चाहते हैं? किसी दूसरे हॉस्पिटल में जाने जो अपने घर के पास में होगा, वहां से आने में बहुत दूर पड़ता है और जो पैसा होता है नहीं, में आने जाने में खर्चा बहुत हो जाता है। देखो बेटा, अगर आप कहोगे छुट्टी कर दो, मैं कर दूंगी, मुझे कोई दिक्कत नहीं। पर मैं आपको ये बताना चाहती हूँ कि इस वक्त उनकी हालत जो है वो लेके जाने वाली नहीं है। क्योंकि एक तो जैसे यहाँ से अगर आप लेके जाओगे तो रास्ते में एम्बुलेंस को लेके जाओगे, कैसे होगा कुछ नहीं कह सकते, क्या सिचुएशन में कुछ नहीं कह सकते। मतलब हालत इतनी अच्छी नहीं है, ठीक है। थोड़ी भी ठीक होती तो मैं कहती चलो ले जाओ, कोई बात नहीं। तो एक तो सबसे बड़ी बात ये है। दूसरा ये देखो बेटा, जैसे पिछले हफ्ते से हम लोग इलाज कर रहे हैं, हमें काफी हद तक उनके बारे में पता है, क्या उनकी कंडीशन है। अब नए हॉस्पिटल जाओगे, नए सिरे से कोई इलाज करेंगे, मैं बेशक मैं पर्ची बना के दूंगी, उनका सारा डिस्चार्ज लिख के दूंगी, जो जो ट्रीटमेंट होगी। तो फिर भी एक होता है, एक डॉक्टर जो ट्रीट कर रहे होते हैं उनको पता होता है कि इस वक्त इनकी किस दवाई से इनको फायदा हो रहा है, क्या इनको नहीं सूट कर रहा। नई जगह जाओगे तो फिर वो नए तरीके से सारा हैंडल करेंगे। तो देखो, एडवाइजेबल तो नहीं होता बार बार डॉक्टर चेंज करना। और मुझे ऐसा भी लग रहा है कि पिछले 2-3 दिनों में थोड़ी, अगर आपने नोट करा तो उनकी कंडीशन में इम्प्रूवमेंट भी हुई है ना। इम्प्रूवमेंट तो हुई, बट उनकी पैसे वाली प्रॉब्लम आ जाती है। पैसे देखो बच्चे, ये तो मैं मानती हूँ कि प्राइवेट में तो खर्चा आता है, अगर जहाँ भी लेके जाओगे वहां भी खर्चा तो आएगा ही आएगा, ऐसा तो है नहीं कोई फ्री में हो जाएगा। अच्छा, सरकारी में अगर जाओगे तो वहां पे आपको पता है, वहां पे इतना पेशेंट होता है कि आपके पेशेंट को बेड मिलेगा नहीं मिलेगा कुछ गारंटी नहीं है ना। देखो, मेरे से पूछोगे अगर तो 2-3 दिन की बात और है, जहाँ इतना सह लिया ये भी आप करें। बहुत मुश्किल है, और लेके जाना चाहते हो फिर तो बेटा मैं जिद तो नहीं कर सकती तुम्हारे साथ में, तुम्हारा पेशेंट है, तुम्हारी फादर है, तुम्हें डिसाइड करना है कि क्या करना है। जो भी करना था तुम कर सकते हो, मैं कहूंगी ये कि घर पे एक बार सलाह कर लो, अपने बाकी जो लोग हैं उनसे बैठ के सलाह कर लो, क्योंकि मेरा कहना है कि सिर्फ 2-3 दिन की बात और है। जब हफ्ता निकल गया तो 2-3 दिन की बात है। फिर भी कहोगे तो मैं कर दूंगी छुट्टी, मुझे कोई दिक्कत नहीं, मैं पर्ची बना दूंगी, पता कर लो जहाँ बेड है, इतना खर्चा कम आता है, जाने ले जाओ। जी हाँ, वैसे आपने तो सही कहा, वैसे एक बार जाके घर में मैं डिस्कस कर लेता हूँ मैम, और पता करता हूँ कि 2-3 दिन की और बात है, और इम्प्रूवमेंट भी अच्छा हो रहा है उनका। तो शायद हो सकता है कि खर्चे थोड़ा एडजस्ट कर लेंगे तो हो सकता है सही हो। देखो बेटा, हॉस्पिटल में खर्चा तो होता ही है, ये तो है नहीं कि फ्री कहीं काम होगा। वहाँ सरकारी में जाओगे तो वहाँ टाइम ज्यादा लगेगा या बेड नहीं मिलेगा, प्राइवेट में जाओगे तो 19-20 का फर्क आएगा, ऐसा नहीं क्योंकि जमीन आसमान का अंतर। फिर भी आप सलाह कर लो, मुझे बता दें, ठीक है। थैंक यू। अच्छा।
So what did you observe in the last video? Write in the chat box. What do you think was appropriate or what was done well in the last video? Write in the chat box. Polite communication. The concern of the caretaker was addressed. Yes. Convincing. Open attitude. Connected listening. Yes. Polite, courteous, reassured. Focus on problem. Yes. Helped him make an informed decision. Empathy. More listening and logical communication to the patient. Approaching him with curiosity, softly handling him on the reality of the situation, providing him with assurance and rationalizing the situation with him. Yes, assertive in a positive way. Yes, politely explaining the condition and advising patiently, empathy, good body language. So I think all in all, you could see that I was trying to display assertive communication. If you look at the language, I was respectful, well-behaved, professional with the patient's attendant, although he was much younger to me in age. But irrespective of that, I was very professional in my approach. My tone of voice, if you observed, it was nowhere aggressive or authoritative or intimidating. That plays a very big role. If you saw my tone of voice, I was just trying to have dialogue with the person rather than using any authority or intimidation. And my body language also, when he was speaking, I was constantly nodding, I was listening to him, agreeing with him. So that encouraged him to speak. And then when my turn came, I tried to explain my point of view. And it was a dialogue. I wasn't just talking and he wasn't just listening, but we were, understanding each other's point of view and having a dialogue. And then ultimately, I did respect their decision. I did give them a chance to decide. I respected their rights as a patient's attendant, that you can talk to your family, and in case if you need to, still if you decide to take, I will cooperate with you. Whatever facilitation you want from my side, I will provide. I know, because usually when the patient's family wants to take the patient lama, we normally get very upset with it. And then that comes out in our language. Then usual thing that we say is, if you want to take, you can take, but you have to sign a document that you are taking on your responsibility. In case if something happens to the patient, it's not my responsibility. If you saw, nowhere I used that language of threatening. But I did tell them that if you decide to take, that there's a risk to his life because he's not all that stable. And when you explain the risk involved, they understand that we are doing it with the idea to kind of help them take a informed decision, like Dr. Manjusha said, that facilitating informed decision so that they know the risk involved in case if they decide to do it. So this was about the 4 communication styles. I thought they're very simple, very brief, but I think in all 4 videos, you could clearly see the behavior that I wanted to display. And now you can relate with it and see what you are doing in your communication. So it could be with patient, with their family member, or even with your colleagues. Please check if anywhere you are using any of the unhelpful style. So work on it and work on your language, work on your body language, work on your tone of voice. And I'm sure you can, make it better and be more professional and assertive in your approach. So any questions about the videos before I move on to the next issue? Or any comment or any feedback? So videos as such played very well in front of me. I tried in the morning because I wanted to make sure that they don't, play mischievous. But today I think it is not the videos, it is the internet that's troubling. So pardon me for that. Otherwise, video quality is not all that poor. My in-house production is not all that poor. Okay. So videos were A1 memo. So thank you. Thank you for encouraging me. Okay. So going further, I have a couple of questions for the last session. And if you have some questions to ask, you can, ask. Otherwise, I will be asking the questions. Any questions? I hope you remember the last topic, the topic that we discussed in the last session. Suvira, you remember? Or you have a question, Suvira? Unmute and speak. Yeah.
Both. I do
Oh.
remember
Go ahead. Go ahead.
managing and resolving patient complaints.
Yes.
And the question that I have is, in the notes it was written, ma'am, ki you can, and even you explained, ki you can take the person concerned to a quieter place and sit them down and talk to them. But if the person concerned turns out to be aggressive, and then you're in like a separate area altogether in isolation, so then if things go out of hand, then isn't that also like a scary situation to be in?
So no one-line answer, Suvira, can give the reply for what you are asking. Of course, you have to assess the situation. Usually, it is seen that when you make them sit and talk, it helps them. And in the coming session where I talk about how do you go about handling aggressive patient party, I'll be discussing that at length. But we make sure that we sit with the table in between us and the patient party. I mean, that's what I normally advise. Although in the Western world they sit like in a conference in a C shape or in a U shape, I don't advise anything like this. I always say please have a table in between you and the patient party, because we know at that moment they are very disturbed. Not that they have come to hit me or they have come to be aggressive with me, but then in a spur of moment you never know what emotion might strike them and they might behave in that manner. That is one thing. If you sense any kind of danger, then please have another team member with you so that you are not alone in the picture. Third, don't have too many people in the counseling room from their side. Have you can respectfully say, see, I couldn't be able to talk to so many of you. Maybe one or two people who are very close to the patient, you can come in. And it's always advisable to take somebody who's older in age, because people who are older in age, they probably they would understand point of view. So actually aligned with you. Things when shows that they are agreeing with you. So you can come. That's one thing. Another thing that I recommend for the counseling, please have two-door policy that is behind the patient's chair. Usually, the patient is closest to the door, and if you try to go out fearing that the patient party might attack me, you are going actually closer to them. So you are at a greater risk. So it's always advisable to have two doors, one behind you and one behind the patient party. And if you feel unsafe anywhere, you feel that they can attack you, excuse yourself, giving some reason, maybe let me speak to my seniors or let me, find out for you and get more information, and then you can, swiftly move out of the counseling room. So these are the things I discuss when we talk about how do you handle aggressive patient party. But I hope I have answered your question.
Definitely, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other question or concern if somebody wants to raise about the last session? So Suvira has asked a very good question that shows that she's not only attending the program properly, but she's also reading my notes. I think every time I finish my session, she reads the notes. So that brings a lot of questions. That's very nice. That's very nice. So I have one or two questions because I don't want to, it's already 8:25. So maybe a question I want to ask you is, what are the common reasons why patients or their family member has raised complaints in healthcare? So you can write in the chat box. What do you think why patient or their family members usually raise complaints in healthcare? What are the common grounds you can say? Write in the chat box, please. Yeah. Financial issues, absolutely. Lack of proper care and treatment. Yeah. It could be even perceived lack of, yeah. Dissatisfaction with services, discharge delay, no communication, limited healthcare, literacy, yes, low health literacy, lack of clarity, and question and concern not addressed properly, absolutely. Cost unanticipated, common reason. If you have not done financial counseling properly, and actually not, people are not really very good at patient financial counseling. Or there can be problem with the behavior of the staff, rude behavior, unempathetic behavior, healthcare staff behavior, not meeting their expectation. Yeah, I think you have, we are clear on that. So I hope the whole idea that if we can handle those things, if we can manage those things, we can actually minimize the complaint, and slowly the quality of the service can automatically, be looked after. Yes, Priya, you're right. Long waiting time is usually a very common problem. Long waiting time and long discharge time. These are two major concerns they have, and we can actually address them if we think over it and find a solution to handle it. Okay, so like I mentioned in the beginning of okay, Dr. Nirankar has something to say. Dr. Nirankar, go ahead and speak about it if you want. Would you like to unmute and share your experience?
So, ma'am,
Please.
today we received one patient at our hospital who was transferred from some another hospital, and main reason he came to our hospital because there was some post-surgical complication occurred at that hospital, and they have the relatives want that the patient should be treated at our hospital. When the relative came to us, and we have started all treatment and everything. After that, we asked that we want to do few tests to confirm the diagnosis and go on with the treatment. They hesitate. They said that they have lost the trust on the doctor because of that past experience, and they want to refer them. They want us that we should treat according to some hospital in the Delhi, that some of their relative doctors who are suggesting them that we have to do so and so test at our hospital, and they are insisting us that you follow all the instruction which we are getting from the Delhi hospital.
Mm.
So we try to communicate with them कि it is not possible like that, because we are treating here, we are here, so we know how the clinical condition and everything. But it like half an hour to explain the relatives of especially the son, but he didn't understood, and he finally signed a negative consent, like do not do this. We have taken a negative consent from that they have refused. They don't want to do so and so test. So in this case, how we can communicate and gain the trust on very first day when the patient come to us?
So one is, did you speak to the doctors who were recommending some other test? Did you speak to them one on one?
No, no. We are recommending the test at our hospital, but that
Okay,
test, but relative doesn't want to do because the some other doctor in the Delhi informed them that that test is not required.
that's what I'm telling. Did you speak to that doctor who said that this test?
We asked them, try to connect with those doctors. So relatives was like, they are very busy. They are from the AIMS. So right now we cannot do. So for today, I will not allow you to do certain test. That was the sentence from the relative.
So see, trust in general, I think, has gone down. We can't deny that fact.
Yeah.
And usually, patients and their family members fear that they will be over investigated for no reason, just to make money. I think, and we can't deny. I'm not saying all procedures are done with that intention, but even if one person does something like this, I think it spoils the image of for everyone. That's the punishment or the penalty we all pay for it. So again, I think helping them understand why you want need to do this test and what you want to rule out or confirm. Probably that would that explanation can help. Maybe you have tried doing that, but that did not really made difference. Second is, if you can help them see that if the doctor who is explaining to you that don't get this test done, if I can talk to that person because he's a professional, he's a medical professional, when I explain to him my understanding of the condition and why I need to do this test, maybe he will understand and he will talk to you. See, we are not very open to the idea. One is second opinion, and second is to talk to any friend or family doctor for the patient. Whereas
Yeah.
actually, it's a wonderful arrangement if you can get in touch with any family member or a friend who is a doctor to the patient. So when you are able to build rapport with them, talk to them, explain your point, because if you are transparent in your approach, you will not hesitate explaining them that why you are planning to do this test,
Also.
and they will rather become your spokesperson. But somehow I have seen that we are not very happy talking to their family member. So there is a hitch on our side, but we should actually make use of this opportunity where the other doctor can play the role of our spokesperson, and they would be rather convincing and explaining to the patient party. But if you have tried doing, as you said, that you did ask them to, connect you with the doctor, and if that has failed, then probably what you did was right. But somewhere I think the overall trust, again, we have to work on our communication and also answering their questions, addressing their concerns. That would probably help you win their trust, that maybe they have had some bad experience at another place, but not all places are same. And you could you could by giving a opportunity to ask questions and clarify their doubts, we can make an effort to build that trust, whatever they have lost. If there's anybody who wants to answer Dr. Nirankar, I'll be happy to have your opinion. Other than what I've said, if you have another point to add from your experience, you can please go ahead and add to his thing, because that's how we learn from each other. Yes, Dr. Mandisha, go ahead, please.
Madam, it wouldn't be an answer, but just something to add. I've had a similar experience last month where, fortunately, there was a relative with the child who
Mhm.
was a doctor, an MBBS doctor. As you said, she was a key person for us because she was the one who was convincing the family.
Mm.
Unfortunately, this child had a very torrential. He came in with GBS, and on the second day, he had an autonomic storm, and which we couldn't manage in our hospital, and we had to refer him to a higher center for. And he went into ECMO within hours of reaching the center. He had severe LV dysfunction. It all happened in a matter of 48 hours. But
Mm.
then this particular doctor came back and she, not even once did they ask us if they wanted to shift. And we were quite sure we could manage until the autonomic storm came in and we knew that it was time to refer. Everything was done perfect. Everything was done on time. Even the referral was done on time. We accompanied, two of our consultants accompanied, everything was done. But then at last, this lady came and told us, this doctor came and told us, because of you guys, I'm getting blamed. Just because I stood for you, I told them that you keep the child here, I got blamed. Ultimately, she didn't take a wrong call, but at the end of the day, she feels victimized. That is one thing. And second, ma'am, as per the law, we have a right to deny treatment unless it's an emergency. So should we be really playing the second fiddle to another doctor who is sitting kilometers away and dictating terms when, if suppose this patient, Dr. Nirakar's patient, for some reason had succumbed to his complications,
Mm.
wouldn't we be at blame legally? So we cannot tell the court that I took advice from a doctor sitting in names over phone. That does not help. That does not help you in any matter. That's where I'm confused.
No, no, absolutely. Dr. Manjusha, I think the point that you're making is very valid. We are not taking advice from the other doctor. Clinical decision is completely in your hands because you are the one who is treating and you are also legally responsible for the treatment protocol, at least. I'm not asking for the outcome, but at least the treatment protocol. I mean, if you are practicing proper treatment protocol, you are responsible for that. But definitely, when you speak to their family member or a friend who is a doctor, it helps build confidence. And also, two minds are always better than one. What if that person can give you an additional information that the family is not able to share with you? A lot of time, even those kind of things happen. But solely the treatment responsibility lies with the treating doctor. And you can't say, I treated the patient on the advice of the other doctor. That logic and that reason does not stand true in the court of law, and that is not justified. I'm not recommending anything of that sort. But when it comes to explaining even prognosis or some complication or the outcome or whatever you want to talk, when you explain them in an honest manner and to the family who is a doctor, for example, they would actually reinforce whatever you have said or restate whatever you have said. So that will help you communicating your message with more clarity to the family. That's the point
How
I'm
do we actually politely tell them that we cannot give for that same clause which we said that a
making.
doctor can decide whom to treat? You cannot be telling them like in the earlier video, I'm not going, don't come here again, I'm not treat you. But instead of that, how do you politely tell them, see, you're not welcome here anymore? I find it very difficult.
So actually, it's one of the doctor's right. You can refuse to treat if you. I mean, we know it well. I don't know how many of you really read your rights and patient's right. We should be knowing our rights and the patient's rights also. We have the right to refuse to the patient, but I don't think we exercise that very often. But definitely, if there is a valid reason why you don't want to treat the patient, you can always refuse to treat the patient. But that
How
way
do we
was
do it, man?
yeah.
How do we do it?
So, I mean, one is, of course, like, I mean, we wouldn't be maybe probably directly saying that, sorry, I refuse to attend to you. But there could be many things, like, for example, when you say we don't have enough facilities to attend to your condition, that could be one thing. Or maybe we don't have that expertise that is required for your condition. There's so many, politer way or a more softer way to use it. I think most of the, especially about district hospitals or the smaller, what they normally is an excuse that please take the bigger hospital facilities, arrangement, infrastructure. That can also be there. Now, regarding the first question where you said the doctor said that because of you, I am now, being blamed for the outcome. So again, I think one is, of course, this is one of the rarest thing where, like, all of a sudden, in spite of you doing your best and he or she also cooperating with you, and then this, but this can happen. it's not a very this thing. But at the same time, if we are prognosticating, properly, and we are informing them the risks, and also when we say that please take cases that you can actually manage and you have the infrastructure to manage, because credentials and all those things are asked when you are in the court of law. Did you have those special expertise? Did you have that facility? So anywhere, if you feel that that's anywhere that you are not very sure of, it's better to refer the patient rather than taking responsibility. I'm always Dr. Purnima, I'll come to you for a second. Let me. I'm always reminded of that case that happened in, was it Jaipur? That high risk pregnancy case was treated in one of the small nursing home, and unfortunately they lost the lady, and then more unfortunately the doctor committed suicide. So I always say, please play safe. If you think you don't have that kind of bandwidth, that kind of infrastructure, don't take challenging cases. Let them be handled at a bigger hospital, because at a bigger hospital, one, the family has the confidence that this hospital has all the arrangements. Second, you are not alone and you can't be targeted. There's a team behind you. So automatically you get protected. I don't blame that doctor, but sometimes we do take such adventurous, responsibilities and put ourselves and our people at risk. So we have to be very, very careful. And in today's time, when violence and aggression is so very common, I mean, anything can happen at any point of time. Yes, Dr. Purnima, please go ahead.
Just a small point I wanted to add is that when we are talking to the doctor relative, let's not forget to include one of the primary relatives also. Just because we are on the same bandwidth and we can tell the person in medical terminology, it becomes easier for us to communicate. But it is important that the primary caregiver or the primary person who is the first stakeholder in the patient's care should be also accompanying the person when we explain. So when we explain, we are explaining twice, once to the patient's primary relative, and since the doctor relative is with them, they will also again re-explain. But we should not make the mistake that because it's easy for us, we just talk to the doctor relative. So what we normally follow, the rules for communication have to be followed. And of course, documentation remains the cornerstone of support for us in such difficult situations. Thank you.
Absolutely. I think very two good, valid points added by Dr. Purnima. That's why I opened the house to everyone, that let everybody add their point of view, because from their learning, we can learn. See, one is documentation is very important, that whatever you are doing, or like you said, the patient refused. So we kind of, mention in the document that the family is refusing for that, so that tomorrow they can't blame you that you did not do this test. And also, like she said, that keep the family in the loop, and rather let it be more like a conference call. You could actually be in the counseling room and have the other doctor, on the conference, and so that the family, and it will build trust. The discussion you will have with the doctor, and they will see the doctor, agreeing with your point of view, or you having a detailed discussion, will build their confidence that my case is being handled very meticulously, and due attention and diligence is being. Sugura, is it okay if I don't take your question, because I want to move on to the topic and it's already 8:45? Thank you. Thank you for understanding. Thank you. Okay. So going ahead with the discussion, as I said, we are going to talk about how do you go about designing a program. Many of you are aspiring trainers. Many of you will be training, because that's part and parcel of the responsibility you hold. Many of you will be using these topics in your discussion, and during your interaction with your team members. Plus, as I said in the beginning, that I'm sure many of you will be presenting in conferences and different platforms. So this session will help you think deeply about the finer details that will help you make your program successful. And also, like I was never confident to deliver this program online. But when I worked meticulously and I used that strategy, it helped me develop a program which could be equally impactful, while being online. And that's how we refined everything. So let me take you through the discussion and the presentation, and then we can have more question answer around the topic. So I hope the screen is visible to all.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay. So my
Yes,
first
ma'am.
question, yeah. So my first question to all of you is, those who are already, doing the programs right now, how do you design your program? Maybe one or two of you can, unmute and speak, or you can write in the chat box, whatever is comfortable to you. How do you design your programs normally? Uh, Aarti, the program is being recorded on YouTube and it will be available to all of you. The recording will be available. We are on YouTube already. Okay. So I can see some answers coming in. Okay. By selecting topic, setting objectives, uh, problem statement, set objectives on PowerPoint. Okay. Then identifying needs. Okay. Know the audience before starting, identifying the training needs, appropriate structure and title. Okay. Good content, subject inside the topic, duration, learning objectives, and outcome. Okay. Training need analysis, pre-test, PowerPoint, post-test, feedback. Okay. Pedagogies. Okay. Having a vision, what is the outcome to be achieved? Fine, that's also a good idea. Need of the program. Okay. So you see, you are all covering almost everything. Some ice-breaking activities, wonderful. That's also essential to make the program interesting. Then welcoming discussion and input. And then what do you want to achieve from the program? That also you need to know right in the beginning of the program. Okay. So I can see almost everything you have covered. And the same thing we are going to learn in a structured manner. And this will help you design your program scientifically. So the 4 key questions that you should ask while you're designing a program, the first question is goal of the training. What do I want to achieve through the program? Second question is, who is my audience? Third question is, what is my core message? What exactly I want to tell my audience? And the fourth one is, how can I communicate my message in a most impactful manner? These are the key questions we need to ask before we start designing the program. And like many of you said, first of all, we need to set the training objectives. And for that, we need to do training need assessment. So what are the different ways you use to do training need assessment? Write in the chat box. What are the different ways you use to do the training need assessment? Okay. Interview, questionnaire, community surveys. Okay. Images, surveys. Okay. Complaints, feedback. Okay. Feedback analysis, feedback form. Understand participants' knowledge to observe by observing and feedback. Feedback from learners and gap analysis. Brainstorming. Okay. Surveys, questionnaire, feedback, forms, observation, problem area. Skill gaps. Okay. That's also one of the ways to do the training need assessment. And find gaps in the existing knowledge knowledge gap or skill gap. Okay. Scope of practice. Okay. Audits. Okay. So when we talk about training need assessment, conducting surveys and interviews that you have already mentioned in your answers in the chat box, where you gather input from the trainers, healthcare professionals, and stakeholders to understand their challenges and training needs. So when you interview people, it could be the management, it could be the quality person, it could be the head of the department, it could be the participants themselves. So you get a fair idea where they need assistance or where they need training. Also, when you do some kind of surveys, it could be survey to assess their knowledge, it could be survey to assess their skills. That will help you know where they stand and what is the gap. And then assessing competency gap. So whenever you evaluate their competencies required for effective training and identify gaps in the training current skill set. So that means you are trying to see what skills do they require. And then, of course, reviewing existing material. That means analyzing the current training resources. Are they really meeting the need? Are they really good enough? Or do we need to really upgrade the topics or the delivery or other areas of the training? So that's how we do the training need assessment. It could be by maybe on-site observation, using tools to assess like knowledge assessment or skill assessment, asking the management, like interviewing the management or asking the management, asking the participant and employees, patient feedback, like many of you have mentioned, if you are receiving a lot of complaints and suggestions for a particular area, that itself clearly shows that probably this area or people working in this area require skill building or maybe more upskilling. And then, of course, there is a trend of using mystery customers to see the quality of the service being provided in different areas, who would go and act as a patient, and they come and give you the feedback to tell you what is the training need in that particular area. So once you have done the training need assessment, based on that, you need to set your training objectives. What objectives do you wish? But make sure that you need to keep the objectives very realistic. A lot of time for a 3 hours program in number of hospitals, people look for a very tangible change. So when you are doing more like an awareness program, you are unlikely to see any tangible change. So when you plan or pick your training objectives, you have to keep in mind that they have to be realistic. So it could be like creating awareness and sensitization. Usually short programs, you will not be able to really bring about a major change. So keeping your objective as awareness and sensitizing could also be good enough. Then to bring about change in the attitude could be another training objective. Skill building, like you have mentioned in your answers. Then aligning the employees to the vision and mission of the organization, or behavior modification or induction program, all that can be part of the training objective. So based on the training need goals and objectives, you have to set your specific goals. That's where probably, for example, for a 3 hours program, maybe you will have a specific goal as improving communication skills of a set of people, or empowering them with the skills to handle difficult conversation, or enhancing training methodologies. It could be anything. So those specific goals will help you, know clearly what you need to cover in your session. And then at the same time, we need to establish learning outcomes. Because if you know what learning outcomes you are expecting from a program, then you will clearly know what content you have to cover and what pedagogy you need to integrate with in your session. So specify what training, after training, like what should they be able to do or know after the program. So these two things you have to set right in the beginning. Now, based on the training needs and training objectives, you have to develop your training content. How do you normally develop your training content? Write in the chat box. How do you normally develop your training content? For example, it's a new topic, you need to develop a training content on that topic. How do you do that? Inverted pyramid format to facilitate learning. Okay. Available literature and experiences. Look at existing resources. Okay. Where it is applicable. Read material and references. Speak of its importance. Introduce topics. So, that will happen later. Right now, we are actually developing the content. References. Okay. Basic information should be simple. Again, Mr. Kumar, we are not right now sharing the information. We are creating the content. Like, for example, if I have to cover a topic, I have to be ready with my material, what I want to share with my audience. So research can be one. Then thoroughly from valid sources, okay. Situations and background, okay, relevant to objective. And then reference to previous training modules. Yes, that's also one of the ways, very right, Rose. And then figure out how they should provide care. See what happens in this, what I'm trying to say, include recommendation. Uh, okay, let me tell you what exactly I want to cover here. When I say, for example, I have to uh, develop a program or a session on a particular topic. A simple example is yesterday I was asked to talk about bullying for a set of school children. A school had requested me that class 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, they are indulging into bullying other students. So they wanted me to take a session on bullying. Though it is a mental health topic and a very relevant, much required, but that's not something I'm every day talking. So I had to create content around it. So what happened? See, those of you who are already into training, you will have some material ready made with you, and you will know now I need to just go through my material and develop a program. But there are like you have mentioned here, that you research, you see other existing material, you go through that material. That's another good way of developing your content. I normally use a tool called eDraw Mind Master. I will share it with you. So what I do, I would start thinking, okay, I have to talk about bullying. Let me stop sharing. No, not sharing. I will just have to minimize it. Okay. So for example, if I had to think of talking about bullying, for example, so I started thinking, what all should I cover? What is bullying? What are the different types of bullying? Why do people do the bullying? How it impacts the person? How it can be prevented? What can the person who is being bullied can do? So I was having these, these ideas were just like coming to my mind. So what I do, I use this tool called eDraw Mind Master. You can see, look at the top of the page. It is eDraw Mind Master. I'll briefly explain you about this. So what we do, whatever ideas come to your mind, you start using floating topic and you write the idea there. Whatever ideas that come to my mind. For example, this particular page is, I took a session for a medical college student, strategies to combat stress in medicine. So again, if it was a new topic for me, which I have not covered and I don't have material with me, I mean, I will have to really start from scratch. So what I start doing, I start writing whatever comes to my mind in the floating topic box. And then once I am done with whatever I have thought, then I organize that in this pattern and I create a kind of a mind map for the same. Said this will be the beginning. I will set the tone like this. Then I will talk about what is the existing practice. Then what are the signs and symptoms of stress, and then the strategies to combat stress, and then and then other things. So this is how I normally create. It's more like a whiteboard that we have on our. Let me stop sharing and discuss with you for a second. Okay. So it's like a whiteboard in your room. But what happens when you're writing on the whiteboard? You can, maybe if you need to use the board for another purpose, you will have to kind of clean the whiteboard. But this acts like a whiteboard which is permanent with you, and whatever ideas are occurring to you, you keep noting down on that whiteboard, and then you create a structure. So this is a free tool that I'm using, eDraw Mind Master. But there are paid version also, which you can use. But I think for me, it works for me, and I'm using that. You can download that on your laptop and use that as a whiteboard. Because I know when we are typing, we just want to put everything in one place so that we can visit them once again and work on that. So you can download this tool. And is anybody else using any other tool that I mean, it will be nice for everyone to learn from you if you are using Yes,
Ma'am,
please.
may I add? Yes.
Yeah.
Ma'am, I'm not using a particular tool, but since I'm into healthcare content strategy, I would like to speak about one model that has been designed in order to deliver instructional designs. So
Mhm,
this is called the ADDIE model, ADDIE ADDIE model,
mhm,
wherein analyze, design, develop, implement, and evaluate. These are the things that are used to teach people to teach the audience about the topic that we are planning to teach them.
mhm. ADDIE model. Analyze.
Sorry, ma'am.
Can you explain once again ADDIE model?
Yes, sure, ma'am. Analyze,
Hmm,
design,
hmm,
develop,
hmm,
implement, and
hmm.
evaluate.
Okay, evaluate. Nice. Yeah. So these acronyms help to remember the steps that you need to follow. Yeah, wonderful.
Yes.
ADDIE model. Sure. Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Anybody else who would like to share any tool you are using or any strategy you are using? Okay. So going ahead, like I said, we create a bucket list of ideas that come to your mind and you keep noting down because you want to really, 1 second. Mhm. So all that you think you want to include in the presentation, you put it on one platform and then you create a flow in the content. Creating a flow means what will go in the beginning, what will be the part of the body, what will be the end, and how will you talk about the takeaway. So when you reorganize this content to fit in the above format, automatically whatever you have thought about, that will come into a flow or in a structure. Now, once you have decided that this is what I want to cover or I want to talk about, very important here is to incorporate interactive elements. I think this is where I want you to, focus more. Once we have the content ready, we usually prepare a presentation and we go and deliver the PowerPoint presentation, which is not sufficient, which is not really very helpful because people are not tired of, just watching the PowerPoint presentation. So that is where you have to integrate different pedagogies that can help you make your presentation interesting. So what different pedagogies are you, using right now? Right in the chat box. Right in the chat box. What different? Okay, videos. Yes, interesting. Then. Mhm. Role plays, yeah, very common. Role plays, simulation, yes. Role plays, case snippets, videos, yes, very common. Ask questions, wonderful. Storytelling and videos, short ones, very nice. Skits, yeah. Case studies, okay. Adult learning theory, that is where you talk about constructivism, behaviorism, form. यार बड़ा औखा हो गया, ये तो बड़ा मुश्किल था. और भी ये तो मुझे आपसे सीखना पड़ेगा. Simulation, quizzes, and then flashcards, yes, images, role plays and videos, and on the job training. Wonderful. So that means we have to make sure that we have some interactive element to make the program interesting, to make the session interesting. So, for example, you have mentioned about role plays, rapid fire round, questionnaires, experience sharing, then videos, puzzles, and group activities. So that means the idea is we should integrate as many, different elements as possible to communicate the message and also make to engage them. Because adult, like Pauravi has talked about adult learning model, we have to remember that getting adults attention and sustaining is a very big challenge. So it's very important that we remember that we have to make it so interesting and engaging that people should become willing to participate in this session. Now once you have done it, now it is time to develop the training material, which is more like you have to now create the presentation slides. So usually I suggest for an hour session not more than 25 to 30 slides, or for a 1.5 hour session not more than 40 to 50 slides. Rest of it should be covered with discussion and question answer. So make sure that you develop clear, and visually appealing slides for each module, and then prepare handouts and reading material. For example, if it is an hour-long session or 2-hour session, a simple handout will also do. But if it's a very long program, then of course you have to give them sufficient reading material so they can go through the material and learn more about it. Links to relevant material, checklist, case studies. That's also a very good way to reinforce learning or reinforce your message. And then of course utilize multimedia, which is like videos, podcasts, and maybe other interactive tools to make sure that the program becomes interesting. Then at the same time, we have to develop these assessment tools, pre-test and post-test, to check how much change in their knowledge or understanding you have been able to brought in, and then feedback, because feedback is a very important assessment tool to improve your own performance. So these tools should be ready beforehand, before you start the session. Then plan logistics. So these are the things that you have to keep in mind you will require during the program, and you need to plan about them right in advance. For example, schedule. So you set what will be the date and time of the program. For example, you are planning a 10 weeks program like we have planned for us. So we clearly know that it will be on every Tuesday 8 to 10 p.m. And this is what we are going to, and it should fit into the participant schedule. So I am taking a session for a group of doctors from Afghanistan. So Sunday was the first session for them. And the immediate feedback I got after this session, ma'am, the timings are not working for us. You will have to change the timing. So it should fit into their schedule. It should be helpful for them. So same way, when you are planning some training program in your organization or for any organization, you will have to fit your program according to their schedule. A lot of hospitals, when they get in touch with me and when we discuss about the program, they say, ma'am, we want only post lunch because morning hours are very busy and they are OPD times and most interactive hours. So staff is very occupied with the hospital functioning. So naturally, they will expect you to do these sessions in the evening. So you will have to schedule accordingly. Then choose a venue. Mostly, if you are going to do it for a hospital, most of the hospitals have conference halls or their meeting room or some auditorium. But it is very important to be very sure, does that venue suit you? Because a lot of time, the venue is more like a lecture hall. So probably they are doing an activity or a role play may not be very comfortable and convenient. So make sure that you choose a suitable location with all necessary facilities and equipment. And then of course organize resources. So ensure all material, equipment, and technology are available and functional. Lot of time it happens, you enter the training area, the audiovisual aids are not working, their projector is not functioning, or their mic is not in order. All that you will have to either do it yourself, check, or make somebody responsible to make sure that it is checked much in advance before the program. So common resources that you will require for an on-site program will include, first of all, the physical setup. Make sure that it is conducive to the training program, like I mentioned in the last slide also. Light and ventilation. It should not be very dark. It should not be too much of light. And then, of course, ventilation, so that, if there are a lot of participants in the program, it should be comfortable for everybody to sit and breathe in that area. Seating arrangement plays a very big role, preferably for this kind of program, the kind of program we do. It's always advisable to have a round table and have even number of people seated on each table. Why I'm saying even? Because a lot of time you will be pairing them to do an activity. So it's always advisable to have 4 or 6 people on a table so that when you do an activity, they can work as a pair. But sitting arrangement preferably should be around a round table or a table, but not like in a row, which is as though they are sitting in a lecture hall. Projector, like I said, projector, mic, audio system for video projection should be checked in advance. Lot of time, projector and everything is functioning, but the moment you want to play video, their audio system is not functioning. So you will have to be very sure, make sure that somebody checks all those things in advance and there is no confusion at the last minute. Whiteboard, very helpful. lot of times when we say something, we may be familiar with the word, but the person who is listening to you, the word may be very new to them. Like, for example, just now, we talked about ADDIE model. So for us, it's a new thing. So we requested her to write down. The moment she wrote down in the chat box, we were clear what exactly she meant by ADDIE model. So same way, having a whiteboard where you can write the key points to reinforce, whatever you are saying verbally is helpful. Wall clock, especially facing the trainer. Normally, people have wall clock behind the trainer. I always advise have the wall clock in front of you. Like where I'm sitting, I have a wall clock right in front of me. And time and again, I keep looking at the watch because I know I have to end the session, on time, and I can regulate my content. I can increase and decrease my content. So wall clock is a very good, input, especially in the beginning. Not only in the beginning, I think throughout the session, it's very, very helpful tool because you can regulate your content and flow depending upon the time available. So, and it helps you to save time also. Name tags, it's a very important input. If you can make sure that each participant have their name tag put on their shoulder or in front of them. See, when you call them by name, it immediately builds connection between you and the participant. And when you call them by name, they feel responsible because they know you know their name. So having a name tag and just the first name in capitals, large enough so that you can read the name at a distance of 10 feet. So you can send them a sample of name tag. I normally send the sample of a name tag in advance to the organizing team. Please make sure that each participant, and sometimes even a simple card and a pin is enough to make sure that everybody gets a name tag. Stationery, I encourage people to make notes, to note down, because we forget what we listen, but we remember more when we write and we read those material once again. So make sure that there is sufficient required stationery. In case you are going to use some props for the activities, all those props have to be arranged either by you or somebody from your team. Or if you are going to do the program in another hospital, make sure you send them the list in advance. And then, of course, facility for water and restroom and refreshment in case if you have provision for tea and coffee. These should be ensured, much in advance. A lot of time at various places, I see even these simple things missing. Send in this list in advance in case if you are visiting that place, only on the day of program. But if it is in-house program, then these things should be checked much in advance so that nothing goes wrong on the day of the training program. Now, execute the training. Once you, like if you arrange everything well, you execute the training. And after the training, make sure that you take feedback. I usually say keep the feedback form very simple, to the point, and anonymous. So I'm sure you all must be wondering that in your case, I don't take an anonymous feedback, but I ask you to write your name. See, we are a small group. Plus, I feel you will give me the feedback that will help me understand what exactly I'm missing in this session. A lot of time I get back to the person who has, given feedback to clarify certain things. So, but in a larger group, it's always best to ask for an anonymous feedback. You will get a more honest feedback from them. So that's why I say keep it anonymous. Don't ask for name, but you will get a lot of good ideas from them. Once you have done the program, taken the feedback, make sure that you regularly reflect on your program. That's where your learning lies. That's where you will see where you have gone, wrong, or what you need to change. It could be about timings, it could be about content, it could be about flow, it could be about the activity. So when you will reflect on how the whole thing went and what all can be changed to make your program better, that's where your program will start getting, better. So modify the program based on the feedback that you receive from your participants and the reflection that you have done about your program. So normally, whatever feedback you give me, I don't read it on the same night, but next day morning when I sit on my desk, that's the first thing I do. I go through everybody's feedback. To the extent some of you who do not participate, I can see that reflected in your feedback. When you don't interact, when you don't participate, when you don't get a chance to speak, I can see that being reflected in the program, in the feedback. So that's the importance of feedback. So make sure that you take the feedback very, very seriously, reflect on it, and modify your program and session accordingly. So some points that I want to share with you that will help you to, design your program impactfully. And if you consider them, they're very, very helpful. For example, knowing clearly what is the mode of training. Is it on-site or online? So online program will have a different, strategy. On-site program will have a different strategy. See, on-site programs are always desirable because you are physically present, audience is physically present. You can see from their body language, their interest, their engagement. Whereas online program, a lot of time when participants put up their camera, you don't know whether they are there or not. Are they putting it off for some good reason, or is it that they just want to do something else and they are there? So accordingly, you will have to create your activities, your session, plan, and your engagement activities, because mode of training has a huge impact on the outcome. So you have to make sure that you choose right strategies and pedagogies to suit the requirement. Then it is also important to know your audience. Why is it important to know the audience? If you can write in the chat box. Why is it important to know the audience? Who is your audience? And why is it important? Okay. To know what to talk. Okay. To build connection. Okay. For better communication. Frame the PPT accordingly. Okay. Knowledge level, yes. Can prepare the session accordingly, absolutely, to their needs, to know what to deliver at different level, absolutely, absolutely. And then to understand their requirement, target audience knowledge is important so that we can analyze their level of comprehension. True. For better communication and tailor the content accordingly. Absolutely. So we are clear that it is helpful to know your audience. That's the reason I initially sent you a couple of questionnaires, because I wanted to know all of you, and I could, so that I could customize my session according to you. So if I'm speaking to somebody who is very senior, I would know I can't deliver them basic content, because they may think that, oh, it was not required, we already know it. And if I am interacting with a very young adults, then I have to design my session in a very different way. My language, my content, my delivery should be their age and their understanding. So things that something like their age, their experience, their qualification, their designation, their work experience, all that is helpful in designing your session according to their requirement. Okay. Audience size, again, a very important thing, small or large. So a lot of time they will invite you for a workshop, and when you enter their audience or their auditorium, you will see 100 people sitting in the auditorium. This is one session I took at Rajiv Gandhi, and I was supposed to take a workshop, and when I saw 100 people, I was surprised. I said, you said 30, 35 people, and you have 100 people. No, ma'am, everybody was very interested to attend, so they are. So it may come as a shock to you. So it's important to know what size audience are you going to interact with, and accordingly, for example, for a very large size audience, you can't expect to engage everybody in question answer, because people sitting at the back may not even be able to see your presentation, or may not even participate in the discussion. So accordingly, you will have to customize your delivery and your content depending upon the audience size. It's also important to be aware of the fact how willing is the audience. So for example, for a program that the people have enrolled willingly, voluntarily, you will see they will be interested to attend the program. But in number of cases, you will see it is the management who have organized this program, and the employees are just asked to come and attend the program. So they may not be really very interested to start with. So again, creating interest will become your responsibility. And very honestly, talking about communication in right for the last 10 years, I can say every time I go to deliver this session, I first have to spend initial 10 to 15 minutes in helping them understand how is this topic important and relevant to them. A lot of time, I mean, they will just be, very, very casual in their approach. It's only once you start delivering your session and with your content, you are able to impress upon them how relevant it is to, learn this topic. You will be able to generate interest. So creating interest also will become your responsibility when you know the audience may not be very willing. Again, a very important aspect when you're planning your program, how much is the available time or allotted time? So there have been times when I was asked in the conferences to speak for 8 minutes or 10 minutes or 12 minutes. And I felt, I'm sorry, how can I cover such a big topic in 8, 10 or 12 minutes? But then I realized, oh my goodness, in conferences only, you can get only this much of time. And then I worked on my, content and delivery and designed programs. Lot of time, it's only once or twice I saw the mishap happening in the program. I saw there was a program, we were, I think, five speakers, panelists. Each one of us was supposed to speak for 10 minutes, and the last 10 minutes were for question answer. But because I had seen it at a couple of places, I designed my content in a manner that I should be able to finish my delivery in 8.5 minutes and saving that 1.5 minutes. But a lot of speakers could hardly introduce their topic or just cover 1/10 of the content they were supposed to deliver in 10 minutes. So this comes with lot of practice, but once you will master it, you will actually feel very confident about your delivery. You will be able to deliver customized content according to the allotted time. As a speaker, you may have lot of knowledge, but you will have to really use that escalator. Is that escalator? Yeah, escalators. What is that? Speech. What is that escalator speech? Do anybody know about that? Does anybody know? Escalator speech?
Ma'am, are you talking about
Elevator speech.
that
Yeah,
was-
elevator pitch. Yes, yes.
yeah.
Yes, you're right. Elevator pitch. Yeah. So I don't know how many of you know about it. I mean, there's a saying, I don't know whether that's true or not, but somebody had gone to, discuss a project proposal with Mr. Ratan Tata. And there wasn't much time. And Mr. Tata said that I have just a few minutes from here to the car park. And if you can discuss your project proposal with me in that few minutes, I mean, and if I'm convinced, I will be more than happy to, finance your project. But that person knew who was supposed to talk to him. He knew that this is the only opportunity I have to, present my project. Although he had come with huge preparation, with lot of PPTs and lot of, data, but then he knew that these 5 minutes or few minutes is the time that I have to speak for, and he presented his, the whole content in those few minutes, and finally he got the project. So I don't know how far it is true, but the idea is that you have to be really very smart at concising your content to make sure that you are able to cover everything that you wish to speak in the allotted time. Now, certain tips for a successful program that I have learned through various ways. Like I said, I have attended a couple of programs to learn how do you go about successfully facilitating and designing a program. And from my experience with the programs that I have done till now, I think I find beginning and end should be very engaging and very well thought with clear carry home message. Because beginning, if you're able to catch their attention, if you're able to help them see how they are going to be benefited, they will get engaged with you. So you have to be very, very, specific about how you want to start the session, and then make sure that you end this session with a very clear message. Otherwise, I mean, the whole thing might go well, but at the end, if there is no clear message, they may think, oh, what did I get in this? Another important thing in your program, make sure that you integrate what is in it for me. People will only get interested if they see that this program or this session is going to benefit me. Otherwise, they say there's a lot of content available around and I'm not interested. So you will have to make sure, like for example, when I started this topic of designing a program, I'm sure many of you who are not into training, you may think, why should we attend this session or how is this session going to help me? But at the same time, when I said, even if you are presenting in a conference or if you are doing a small discussion with your team member, even if you are not into training, if you are getting the training organized under you, this session will help you to make sure that the program is designed and delivered in a very structured manner. So if you are able to integrate that in your right in the introduction, they will definitely become interesting. So content has limited value. Make sure that you create experiences, because we don't forget experiences. They last longer. So therefore your session should have lot of opportunities for some experiences which make it interesting. Even if you look at this picture, when you are showing a PPT and they are reading the content, one part of your brain is in use. When you are listening, another part of the brain is used. But when you are recalling, again another part of your brain is used. But when you are teaching, storytelling, discussing, you can see how many part of your brain are activated and they get engaged. And it is better to engage as many part of brains as possible. So be creative with your training curriculum and pedagogy. Then this is one thing that I practice very regularly. Ask thought-provoking questions rather than giving information. And I have seen when I ask question and when you all answer or when participants answer, honestly, I get lot of new answers that are not on my mind, that I have not thought about. So it comes as a huge learning opportunity for me as well. So I think this is one approach. If you are able to bring in your teaching, you can engage anybody and everybody. So, for example, when I said I was talking about bullying with a set of students yesterday, and they were class 10th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. So you can well imagine how naughty these kids are, how mischievous these kids could be. But I made sure that rather than doing the talking and preaching, I just started asking them questions. And they got engaged and they got interested and they started answering those questions. And the answers they gave me were really very insightful and they were very rich experience for me as well. So it takes time to, bring this in your strategy. Honestly, I had to put in a lot of effort to integrate this strategy in my program. But since I'm doing it now and I find it very helpful, I would recommend that use this, strategy in your approach wherever you can. So whenever you're sharing some information or some claim that you're making, make sure that you support your opinion and statement with studies and reports. Because you are interacting with the intellectual, with educated audience. So they would be more convinced with you if you're able to show them that it is not you who is saying this, it is the result of multiple studies and research that is, that also supports your opinion. So when you when you quote that, source, they feel that yes, you have done your research very well and you are not speaking out of your mind. Then it's very important to keep updating your knowledge and skill. Make sure that you continue to read, write, create, and think, brainstorm. Because same content, same delivery will ultimately become boring and also may become outdated. So you really need to read books about healthcare communication, about training program, how you go about, and not only this, see your audience, once they will become comfortable with you, they will ask you a lot of questions. They may not be related with the topic that you are discussing. And if you have done your homework well, and if you are well versed with the related topic, and if you are able to answer those questions confidently and in a honest manner, your audience and your participants will be, convinced with your content or your knowledge or your expertise. So make sure that you keep updating your knowledge. I mentioned here about the checklist manifesto. If you get a chance, please read this book. This is by Atul Gawande, who is a neurosurgeon in Harvard University. Beautiful book written. Why other industries like nuclear industry or aviation industry are doing better than healthcare industry. Then atomic habits, how do you really work on, focusing on something and making things better for you. Complication is also another book by Atul Gawande. Again, in this, he has talked about number of errors that happen at our hands, which otherwise we will never accept or believe. But when you read this book, you realize, oh my goodness, I mean, it's not just in India, it's across the world that these kind of errors are happening. So we really need to take it seriously and work on it. So the whole idea is that I was reading this book by Brian Tracy. Beautiful book that says no excuses. And in that book, he says 3% of your income should go to learning new things. And lot of new ideas he has given. I'm reading it. I'm going to reread. I have a habit of reading a book once and then reread and also make notes. So I found some of his, ideas very, very, very powerful, and I'm going to implement them. And then he says 3% of your income should go to learning new things. And I feel that's a very good point. I keep thinking of upgrading and upskilling myself. I want to get into life coaching. That's my dream. And one day I'm going to do that because I really want to venture into, working with individuals in their capacity building or improving their functioning. So that's how set your targets, set your purpose, work on it, make sure that you achieve what you want to do. And that's how keep updating your skills and knowledge. And you feel good about. Which book, Aarti, are you asking about? Okay, No Excuses. I'm reading it on Kindle. This book is No Excuses by Brian Tracy, who has written Eat That Frog First. He's a wonderful writer on time management and life management. So I have read that book, Eat That Frog, and this is the second book by him I'm reading. This is in my Kindle. I love reading on Kindle now. That's another new thing I have done. I really love this book. So I recommend all of you to keep upskilling yourself, and especially doctors. Please, I have a couple of doctors around me, my husband and some more family members, and I see sometimes you work with a very narrow approach. You're focused on your profession, and you just read everything and anything related to your subject. That's excellent. I appreciate. But there are so many other knowledgeable sources which can be implemented to healthcare, which can be helpful in healthcare, and we could bring those ideas and make our healthcare more updated, if I may say so. So make sure that you read a lot of other material. If not reading books, you could listen to TED Talks, you could listen to podcasts, you could see some YouTube videos on various topics. And I'm sure you must be doing it. Not that you're not doing it, but I'm just giving you an idea to keep updating your knowledge and skill so that when you talk to your audience, they see that you are updated, you are working on yourself and not just on them. And then, as I said, regularly time your session because that's one area where we at times fail. Either our content is too much or it is too less, and then you are not able to optimize it. So make sure that you design your content or quantify the content to meet your time requirement. Read your feedback carefully. We have discussed at length, so I'm not reading it once again. Regularly reflect your performance. Again, very, very helpful virtue. This is important. The more you practice, the more you will be able to do better. So practice, practice, practice. See, a lot of you, after doing the program, if you don't start, teaching and training on healthcare communication, very soon you will forget what you learned. Although from my side, I'm making all efforts. I'm giving you the YouTube videos of all the session. You can revisit the content n number of times. I'm giving you reading material. Even the presentation is available on YouTube. I don't give ready-made presentation because I want you to create your own, presentation. But otherwise, from my side, I'm trying my level best that you work on yourself. But actual, benefit will occur when you will start delivering these sessions. Wherever you are, even if you could start or initiate 15 minutes discussion, 20 minutes discussion, 30 minutes discussion, 10 minutes discussion over a cup of tea, over your lunchtime, anytime, maybe after the conference, before the conference, whatever way you want to do it, that's how you will start practicing this. I'm sure you must have heard of the concept of 10,000 hours. Have you heard of this? 10,000 hours of practice. So there's a book by Nana Palkiwala. He wrote in detail about it that if you practice any skill for 10,000 hours, you can become a master of that craft. Anything on the earth, you invest 10,000 hours and you can become master of it. And start as early as possible. So to summarize, a well-designed program has to have very clear objectives, specific and measurable, targeted audience for whom you have designed the program, relevant content to meet their need, engaging and interactive elements, structure has to be in a logical flow, the instructor or the trainer or the facilitator has to be knowledgeable and skilled, there has to be scope for assessment and feedback, flexibility to adapt to the different learner, and practical application for real life scenario. And the last point is evaluation and improvement to bring about continuous refinement. So this was a brief about how do you go about designing a program. I'm sure you all must be using these steps, but I've just tried to give you a structure. And maybe if you were missing on some steps, you can integrate these steps to make it more impactful. So any questions about the topic that we have discussed? But do you think this is a useful topic and relevant for the program? Because it shouldn't be waste of time for all of you. Time is very precious, and but I thought if I'm talking about master trainer program, then I have to talk about training, because I've seen a lot of programs, on healthcare communication. They talk about master trainer, but they don't talk about the training skills, and therefore a lot of people who learn, but they are not able to deliver because they don't know how to go about delivering the program. I can see some answers in the chat box. Okay, you find it relevant, useful. Wonderful. Thank you. I think that's the feedback I needed from you. And in case if anybody feels that, no, I think all of you are happy with it. Okay. So if there are no questions about the topic, then I have to discuss the assignment. We are in session 5. I had shared the instructions in the group, and I've also shared the list of topics in link to the list of topics. So any questions about the instructions? Are they clear, or do you need more clarity on it? You can unmute and ask in case if you need more clarity on it.
Ma'am, when do we have to submit this assignment, and do we have to present it in the classroom, or we have to submit it?
So for we till this program, we used to have presentation presented by the participants. But we realized that was taking away a lot of time because see, for example, now you are 20, 22 of you, 23 of you. If I ask you to present, that means at least 4 to 5 people should present in each session. So that means it will take away almost 30 to 40 minutes of the program. So I thought that no, I can't lose on the content of the program. So last time we experimented that I asked some of the participants to record as a video on Zoom or even on the laptop. I think there's a provision to record. I thought that that will be a wonderful learning for all of you because one is that you become used to presenting and recording on YouTube or on Zoom or on your laptop. And the good part is if you record your video and share in the group, everybody can see those videos, at their own comfort. And you can revisit also. So it's a kind of two purposes served in one, rather multiple purposes served with this change in the strategy. One is I want each one of you to become tech savvy. You must be, I'm sure Parvi, you must be doing it because you're already a content writer and presenter. But a lot of us are not very tech savvy. But I want each one of you to be very confident in using technology. Technology is for us. AI is for us. Chat GPT is for us. Make use of it. Have fun with it. So record your video. This doctor who has recorded, Dr. Rita Gupta, whose recording I have shared in the group, even she was very inconfident. I said, you have to do it. But once she did it, I was very happy. I said, see, this is the beginning. Now you can do many more such sessions, isn't it? So please, but before you record, you have to create your presentation and share with me, talk to me. Each one of you will have to share with me because at times I have seen errors in the presentation. So I want to be very sure that the presentation you are making content-wise, it should exactly meet the requirement. So we will have a discussion. Then you can record and share with me. And if there is any change we need to make, I'll tell you. Otherwise, we can post it in video. It has to be just 3 to 5 minutes long video, not a very long this thing. You just have to explain. Like if you saw that video, it's 5 minutes long. It covers everything. So idea is that if each one of you speak about one pedagogy, automatically we will have around 25 pedagogies being discussed by all of you. So list I have given, it has 20 topics. One is you could even pick a topic beyond the list. For example, if somebody is using Kahoot and it is not in the list, I'll be happy if you speak about Kahoot or any other pedagogy that you are using. Like for example, Porvi, if you are using something that is not in the list, but it's a very interesting pedagogy and it's very engaging, we'll be happy to have that. Discuss with me, prepare a presentation, share your presentation with me, record it and share it with me. So this list is not exhaustive. I've just listed 20 topics and I've also given some more topics under the table. If you look at the experiential learning, problem-based learning, case-based learning, simulation-based learning. I mean, but it has to be interesting. It has to be engaging. That's the whole thing. It should serve the purpose. It should meet the requirement. And you can, present. So, Dr. Purnima, I think you wanted to ask something. Dr. Manjusha, let Dr. Purnima ask, then I will come to you.
Ma'am, if I have understood correctly, we first create the PowerPoint around the selected topic and we share the PowerPoint with you over WhatsApp. And then once you approve or we make the suggested changes and get it approved again, then we make the video and then we submit it on to the session or to the group. How do we submit that after your say so?
See, we that can be shared even during the week. We don't have to wait for the day of the session, no? Because ultimately, see, we are left with just 5 more weeks.
Yeah.
So don't wait for the last week. Try doing it maybe in a week or 10 days or 15 days. 2 weeks time should be more than enough.
Yes, ma'am. So first we share the PowerPoint with you.
Yeah. Prepare a PowerPoint, share with me, and then we have a short telephonic discussion. In case if I have to suggest something, I will tell you. and then you can refine your presentation and record it.
Yes.
Anybody who has challenge with recording?
Record it on PowerPoint also will do. No?
Have your picture on the side, like we have your camera on. That looks nice. No? We
Yes.
will know who is the speaker here. That's the whole idea. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Dr. Manjusha, go ahead. You had to ask something.
Just for clarity, madam.
Sure,
Initially, I thought I was supposed to use the pedagogy for a topic of ours, but now I understand we are to speak on that the topic that we have selected.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
So if you are going to talk about storytelling, then you have to tell what is storytelling. How do you use it? What are the do's and don'ts of storytelling? And where all it can be used. Little bit about storytelling as a tool. You could
and you
even-
expect
you
us
could-
to use various pedagogies in our presentation when we do a video.
Yeah, yeah. So you could even, start with this story and then ask the question, how do you find this story? Isn't this very engaging? Have I not been able to capture your attention? I'm sure you are now interested to know what was the end to this story. So, and then you say, I have introduced you to a pedagogy called storytelling, and it's a very powerful way. And it comes from ancient time when our grandmothers used to talk to us and put us to sleep while sharing a story. And then you talk about storytelling as a tool. So make it interesting. Don't make it dull. Make it interesting, enjoyable. And then you can cover any topic that you want to cover.
So, ma'am, which means that the content is left to us, and the way it is done is left to us.
Yes.
So everybody can be innovative, I guess, in doing it in a very creative way.
Absolutely.
Something like a micro teaching or something. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's completely your discretion. What content, but why I want to vet the content, because couple of times the content did not match the learning objective. So, for example, if I ask somebody to talk about storytelling, so that person spent 7 minutes talking about story. So I said, no, it's not about story. It is about storytelling as a tool. So that's the reason why I need to vet the content. Yeah. So I request all of you to have a look at the list of the topics. I have shared the list. In case if somebody has taken a topic and you think you want to talk about it, it's perfectly all right if you want to do the same topic. But it will be really nice if you pick up a different topic, because then we will have as many, presentations as, different topics as many presentations. Why cover the same topic again and again? It's better to take another topic. That's the whole idea. So any questions about the assignment or the topic? So we still have around 10 minutes. Otherwise, I can share the feedback form and you can.
Just Madam
Will I share the... Yes, please. Yes. Go ahead.
Just about today, like we learned about the basic concept of how to create a designer program. But for example, you were speaking about how you attended courses about how to design programs. Where do we get such resources, about authentic resources? Because we find many things on the net, but authentic, suppose I have to cater to a group of people, the reception staff of my hospital, and I have to teach them communication. That is entirely different from how I teach communication to the nursing staff or a doctor, different from that of a pharmacist. So, where is it actual content? Can you give us some reliable sources where you get content? For example, for scientific, we have PubMed.
So you may not get ready-made content, for the topic that you wish to cover. But like I said, if you do little brainstorming, okay, this is my set of receptionists. What are their responsibilities? What are the kind of communications they are making? What exactly skills that I think will help them, make the patients comfortable and feel welcome? What are the challenges they are facing? So you will have to first kind of brainstorm on the broad topic that you need to cover. And when it comes to content, one is that the reading material that I've shared with you, it has lot of content. Then the book that I talked about, Fundamentals of Clinical Communication, again, that has lot of content. And I mean, it's better if you create content depending upon your requirement. For example, in a government setup or in a private setup or in a corporate setup, the receptionist's behavior will be very different. The way I talked in that video about aggressive behavior, I don't think any doctor in the corporate setup will talk like this. So my behavior is not according to the corporate setup. It will be little different. Same way, you will have to customize your content. Whoever is your audience, keep them in your mind, observe them, see what are their primary responsibilities, what they are doing well, what they are not doing well. So do training need assessment. That's the best way. And based on that, and content you already have a lot of content. The reading material that I've given you, every topic in series is covered according to the session we are doing.
Madam, how do you, for in-house training, whatever you said is perfect. But I'm just asking your experience when you go outside to other organizations to take classes. How do you do this? Do you ask for a background data from the organizing team or
So
about
usually
their?
they usually get in touch with me for a training. So I do ask them that what is the objective of your training? What exactly are you looking for? So normally they say that it's about their behavior, it's about their conduct. We want them to be more professional and proactive in their approach, making sure that the patients feel wanted, welcomed, received well. So I know that what skills they are looking for. So, like for example, now I'm offering a 3 hours program, which is more like service excellence program. In that, I cover what are the essential skills. That the second topic that I covered, if you remember, essential skills that I customize according to the audience. If it is doctors, nurses, paramedical staff, front desk staff, examples will be different. Situations will be different according to the situation they are handling every. But the skills would be more or less same, because everybody needs to build rapport, everybody needs to listen, everybody needs to empathize and assert and have a positive attitude. I hope I have answered your question.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm sharing the feedback form in the uh, chat box. Give me a second to copy this. Yeah, I have pasted in the chat box. Please see if it is working.
It's working, ma'am.
Okay. So should I post in the WhatsApp also?
Better, ma'am.
So I posted in the in the WhatsApp group also.
Fine, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Anju, have you mentioned in the list? Have you written your name in the list? Is she there?
Ma'am.
Yeah, Anju, have you written your name in the list? I shared the list of the topics in the group. Unmute your device. Anju, you are not audible. You need to unmute your device. Yeah, I can see 12 responses. So next topic of discussion will be handing over tools, a very important topic from the point of view of patient safety, because a lot of errors happen because of poor handing over. So we will be practicing a couple of cases and some documents also about handing over in the next session. And I have already given you reading material. If you get a chance to read, go through the notes. So if all of you have done, I think we can close the session. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It was wonderful.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Good night, ma'am.
Good night. Thank you. See you. Bye-bye.
Thank
Thank you, ma'am.
you, ma'am. Good night.